Thank you so much, everybody, being here for I should say, EcoPrintQ Rothwell Documents Umango interview. I'm Jen from EcoPrintQ, and I have my colleague Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy Bonero, product specialist is what they call me. Yeah.
Most days. And then Mary, one of our favorite partners at Rothwell Documents. Could you introduce yourself?
I'm Mary Van Horn. I work with Rothwell Document Solutions, and I provide network service solution help. So I help the customers with configuring their multifunction devices and installing software for print management or document management, and providing those kinds of needs.
Thank you, Mary. And who's our special guest today? Jeff, who are you?
My name is Jeff Drumishauser. I'm the Senior Vice President of Business Development here at Sovereign Insurance. I am involved in sales specifically, but also from a management role. I kind of manage IT, but also look for solutions within the company. You could call it automation, innovation, whatever you want, but I kind of gravitate towards trying to help find solutions for people. And this all came about because we had a problem. It was stacks and stacks of paper and needing to get it into a format that we could do something with. So that's kind of how we got connected with all you wonderful people. And it's been great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're so happy all the stars aligned and we all got together. I'm wondering if you guys could tell me, Mary, did you reach out to Jeff, or Jeff, did you reach out to Mary? How long have you guys been in a partnership, your two companies? I'm curious, go back to the inception.
Oh. Wow. The inception. That's before me.
Oh,
That's
really?
Before me as well. Yes.
I'm 17 and a half years. It's been that long. The very first printer I saw in our office was with Rothwell. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long time.
It's been 10 years for me, so definitely way beyond me. But it started with Jeff reaching out, asking if our machines can scan OCR. Went from there. So the first thought was it's Rico Machines. They have an app called Rico Smart Integration. It does OCR. We thought it was just something that simple. But then Jeff started asking more questions, like, can it create a cover sheet from the OCR? And at that point, we're like, no, you're going to need something that does a little bit more. And I had just recently been hearing about Umango, and Kevin Rothwell, said to me, why don't you reach out to Jen and ask her about Umango? And I'm like, great idea. So we did, and we pulled in Jimmy and explained what Jeff was looking for, and kept adding more requirements and needs, and can it do this, and can it do this? And the answer was always like, sure it can. And it did.
So Jeff, it started with you just asking for a vanilla sundae, and then all of a sudden there was whipped cream, sprinkles, cherry on top.
Yeah, I went from vanilla ice cream to a full course meal pretty quickly. And
it wasn't even just a banana split.
Well, I feel like that's always the fun part, right? It starts with a thought process of like, hey, can we just do this one thing? But then you're like, well, that gets me part of the way there. It's better if I could get that done, that'd be great. But then it gets me from there to, hey, what's the next thing we could do?
Oh, you're like a mad scientist then. You're like, what else could we do?
I just had that conversation today. I like learning about things and how we can actually use it. So like, what can we do this? Can we do that? And that, I think a lot of like what Mary said is it came from a conversation of, can we do OCR? Because that was the first thing I thought of, was just, if we could do that, that would be great. And if we could just send it to an email address, that would be great, or put it in a folder. But then we got a little bit more complex because we actually had a really big issue. We have a small accounting department, and we have all these statements from hundreds of insurance carriers and vendors and all across the board. And like, we have to take these physical documents, because they're mostly physical documents, and get them into digital and then file them in a filing system. And we just didn't have a good way to do it. It was just a lot of blunt force trauma, to get it done. And so as we talked, it was like, oh, wait, we could do some more stuff. This would be great.
Fantastic. I know that you filled out our little survey. I was going to look to
Yeah.
see if you gave us any more information on specific
Oh,
documents and
sure.
like key information on some of those documents of like, why are you storing these things, Jeff? Like what?
Sure. So within our insurance agency, you know, we've got relationships with insurance carriers. We've got
Okay.
vendors that we use, whether they're vendors for the physical building or vendors that we do services with. And then we also can have within the accounting side of the carriers, we have them, they bill us in different manners. Some of them send bills directly to us, some of them don't. Some of them send to the customers, aren't our customers. So we have to keep track of all of that. We reconcile all of that. So our accounting department will get a 85-page document, and they will go line by line, making sure that every in and out works. That's a tedious process, and we haven't figured out how to make that faster. But then when they're done with that, they have to take that and then get that document into our imaging system, because we need to keep the documents for audit.
I was going to ask you if it was audit retention. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
We have audit requirements, you know, and so we have to keep these records, and we have to keep them organized, and they have to be quickly found. And the other thing is, in the past, it was less structured. And so, you know, if we had an accounting person that dragged it in there, they'd be like ABC company 112.22 $47. The next person would be 112 ABC company, no money. There was no consistency in the way they were formatted. There was no consistency in the way you could search for them. So it made research challenging. It made getting them, it was hard to get them in the system. And then once they're in there, you couldn't do anything with them because it was hard to process, like where you had to find something. And so the thought was, hey, we have all this paper, because even though we may pay electronically or get paid electronically, there's a paper trail that we have for all of this. And so we didn't have a way to connect our imaging system and our agency management. Even though they are connected, there was no way to get the documentation from, it would go from the management system to paper. Then it would have to go from paper into the imaging system. And so we could not, there was no quick way to do it. And so we were building a folder, and we were getting behind by a lot of just all of these statements. We have agency bill and direct bill, all of these statements, and then all of these vendors that we were paying. And they were just being, it was sort of like, if I can get it in the folder, I don't have to worry about that. I can do the rest of my job.
Yeah.
And so we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files being thrown in there. Again, no organization, no clear anything. And so then it was like, well, one, can we stem the tide on continuing to build out this folder? Maybe we're gonna have to deal with this folder on its own anyway, but could we come up with a process moving forward and then just work our way backwards on this one? And that's when I reached out to Mary and was like, can you do OCR? Can we scan these things? And could you maybe read off of it and just create a cover sheet for me, so that when the individual opens it, they know exactly where it goes and they can drag it in there? And that inability to just create a cover sheet, not because that's a flaw, but just we couldn't do that, led to this conversation of, well, can we do that? And as Jimmy and I talked, it wasn't so much can we do it? It was almost like, okay, where do we stop in what we can actually do? And then it was, I had to work with our vendor on ImageRite, our imaging system side, to make sure that whatever Jimmy created worked. So that I was actually working both sides of this. And I'm frustrated over here today, and then I'm frustrated over here tomorrow, but it's not because it's not working. It's like, I have to get them to talk eventually. That's the part that you all don't know about, but that I do, which is what you were able to create, I can now have them read.
Yay.
And they take a document that we scan, that your system reads and parses for us, and labels an email, labels a PDF document, creates a cover sheet. It takes that entire thing, it reads it, and it sticks it exactly where it's supposed to be, labeled correctly and the same every single time, in our imaging system. So now our team, instead of doing one at a time and dragging them in, takes a giant stack, as much as the printer can handle, and just shoots it through. And we're doing 300-400 pages at a time, and the system takes that and parses it. That could take hours. And
Right.
now it's really just, I don't know, it takes 2 minutes to scan it. It may take Umango 30 minutes to read it, but once it reads it, it just shoots it into the imaging system and it's there.
Right.
The email reads it. So I mean, the amount of time savings, and we've had, Jimmy knows, we've had our bumps and our starts and fits and starts and little hiccups here and there, but every single one of them, we've been able to quickly maneuver through on your end. I'm not going to talk about this end, some of the challenges we've had.
That's
over
a different
there,
interview.
but we have that one fixed now too, and so we're like really rolling through this, going like, this is incredible. Like, we're able to get this into our system and put it where it belongs. And again, it's labeled. The consistency to me
Yep.
is such a key thing. And I said, working with Jimmy to go through that has been a real pleasure. But I think the opportunity is, there's more things we could do with this. We just haven't figured them out yet.
That's
what's
what we
exciting
love
for me.
hearing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a little, you just planted a little seed in your company, and
Yep.
it solved this one challenge. But what else that's that mad scientist thing again. Like, what else can
Yeah.
we do now? Like, there's so much more you can do.
Yep. So
Jeff,
I'm excited about what we can do.
I want to go back again for a minute. Like, so all the folks in AP that are scanning those documents in, different naming conventions, all going to the folder. Did you ever have a time that someone actually had to find something? Did that come up?
We've had it happen a number of times, and it's always challenging because you're trying to reconcile the system and the label on the document. And that is what was the hardest part. This has given us, at least, even though they still have to open it and find it, they can at least see the date, and the date
Okay.
matches. And so
Yep.
there's a connection to the email date too, which you're just like, so when it hits the system, it says, this was scanned in on 2/19. Well, that can cue them in. It gives us so many more things to grab onto from a research standpoint that just weren't there before.
Awesome.
The email itself is actually a huge tool, because we can actually pull that email and then forward it to somebody if we need, like, hey, I'm looking for the statement. You click open in Outlook, hit forward to the person, and it's there. Before, you
Perfect.
couldn't even do that, because you'd have to right click, hit send to another dialog window would open. You'd have to attach it. Then you'd have to type your email, hit send. Now, because Jimmy's got the system putting the email in there, it's an email and a PDF. Our system parses that out for us, which is great. But if I need to forward that, all I have to do is hit one button, it opens it, and hit send.
Nice.
And it's done.
Streamlined.
And so it really gives them freedom to be able to move information around the company faster, because it's there in a format that they can actually do something with more quickly. Before,
Yeah.
they could do something with it, but you'd have to open an email, drag it over, or like I said, you'd go through the right click, set this. It was a bunch of steps. Now it's 2 buttons.
Yay. We love that.
Yeah.
Mary, when this all started and like he came to you with the OCR, and then you reached out to Eco for Freaky, like, I think I remember something you may go and don't know. What did you think of the process of everything, of like getting Eco Freaky tied up with Jeff, getting the demo done, getting into the POC? What did it feel like from the dealer side of things for you?
It was awesome, because working with Eco Print Q is always awesome.
I did not pay you to say that. I
You did not.
swear.
You did not. You are absolutely my favorite solutions
Aw,
provider. Starting with you,
yay.
Jen. I
Thank you.
send you a question. You are on top of it.
Aw.
If you don't know the answer, you have the right people there to check. And
I got Jimmy.
well, and then Jimmy came into this picture. Talk about an expert in Umango. There wasn't anything that came along that he wasn't like, yeah, we can make this work. Send me, samples. We'll figure it out. Jimmy is very good at explaining the process and teaching me
Mm-hmm.
along the way too, since Umango is new to me. I'm in theory the first line of support, but I
Yeah.
had never used it, so I learned
Yep.
a tremendous amount.
Yep.
And it really started with setting up a demo here in our office ahead of time so that I could play around with it and all. But the communication was great. Anytime there was a change with Jeff or Jimmy, always include it, explanation of what happened so that I stay in the loop and know what's going on the whole time.
Yep.
So it's been a great experience. And I'm very confident now to keep offering it to other
Mm-hmm.
customers. You should try Umango.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
See if
you.
it works for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I say
I would
something?
piggyback on. Can I just piggyback on that real
Oh,
quick?
yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
things that I really enjoyed about working with Jimmy too in this process is I got to bring my IT support person in through this process, and he got to learn how it works because it's a pretty open system, and he's really smart, very very bright, picks things up well. But because Jimmy would go through it step by step, really detail oriented in that process, there were, maybe there was something in there. Hey, could we do this? And he would go look at it and go, yeah, I think we can get that done. And he might make a tweak, just one, nothing major. But, when we had a real issue, we would reach out to Jimmy and say, hey, listen, we can't, it's not doing this thing. It's missing this. And he would fix it and it was done. But like little things, whether it was like, hey, we want to move the email to this or whatever, he was able to watch Jimmy do it and learn. I thought it was really great. Part of the process was our staff person was able to learn how it actually worked, to feel comfortable with it. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jimmy, but I just to piggyback on Mary, that was a really big part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And I remember in the very, very beginning, I think one of the things that really led to the overall success of the product or of the project was that it started with, I think the requirements gathering was really good. And I think Mary was instrumental in all of that. It might not seem like it's really, really important, but oftentimes if we don't have a clear goal, it's difficult to get to where it is that we're trying to go. But at every step, everything that Mary provided in the beginning, I think she gave us really a clear vision of where we were trying to go. So when you couple that with knowing the product and putting it together, and then working with you, Jeff, on getting some of those little tinks hammered out,
Mm-hmm.
I think all of that really helped. So um, I think what I'm glad about the most is that it's simplified the filing for you,
Mm-hmm. Oh
and then
yeah.
it makes it easier to find when you need to.
Yep. Yeah, and if I showed it to you to see the difference in how it was and how it is, it's night and day. I'm literally dealing with it this morning. Like, where's this one? It's not in there because nobody scanned it. I said so, but the difference between that one and this one is tremendous because of the way it's set up. So it is really really helpful.
What about user adoption, Jeff? When the folks that are doing this scanning, when you're telling them I'm working on this project, you're gonna have a new thing you're gonna do, were people scared? Were they telling you no? Like, what feedback did
Uh,
you get?
we are not. We're insurance. Insurance is not a change oriented industry.
Right.
It doesn't do change well as a whole, especially technology. But our controller, our VP controller, is just she was really willing to take a chance on it. And as we went through, like I said, fits and starts, and some of it, and so much of it had nothing to do with Umango. It was the other side. Yeah, those frustrations, like I would deal with that, and she like, well, can we get this to? I'm like, it works because I can see it in Umango, and I can see it go through my email. I know it's doing what it's supposed to. I've got an issue over here that I will deal with, but it's the hardest part was getting it from paper to digital to email. And that worked almost all of the time. We had a couple issues with, hey, you know what the best part was? We had a really long statement, like 30 pages. We didn't know that page one was going to separate into 3. Email, talk to Jimmy. We were done in an hour. Had the whole thing fixed, and I just scanned one today. Perfect. Worked like a charm. There was trial and error on that, but the responsiveness was there, and it gave her confidence that we were going to be able to get this done. And quite frankly,
good.
the user experience, I mean, I honestly don't believe we could make it any easier. You stick it in the scanner. So you press a button,
Yep.
whether it's this direct bill scan or agency bill scan or vendors, 3 buttons you choose from. Pick one of the 3. You pick that, you put the paper in, and you hit start, and you're done.
That's it.
I can't make anything else here easier than that.
Well, Jeff, you could have someone push the button for them.
I mean, I could,
A
but
button pusher on a stick.
Yeah, I mean, they're not far, so maybe that little thing to toss over and to see. But it's like, I can't make the whole, like, the process is so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And even filing the old stuff, all I need them to do is print a PDF of one thing, and you have a system for them to drag and drop it.
Perfect.
It's not really that hard.
So your users are using the portal too. They're using the
Oh, yeah.
dashboard.
I
Okay,
have them check the
great.
dashboard every time that they scan something to make sure it's gone through. Because there, if for whatever reason, if the OCR doesn't pick something up, they may have to tweak it just to correct it or make sure it knows it. But even that, Jimmy and I have worked so hard on it. I haven't gotten one of those in 2 months.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, I feel like all of that fine tuning that we went through for that period of time really allowed us to get to a place where it really does just go and do what it's supposed to do. Unless the paper or the document has a flaw in it. Quite frankly, that's the only time we have an issue. Like if the document is, was really, really crooked, like, off kilter. Other than that, we haven't had one issue in a few months, which is great. Like I said, we fine tuned it and worked it and kept working it, and it really did. It just gets it in the system, which is great.
So the staff that are using actually the button pushers reminds me of a child song I knew from summer camp back in the day where a guy pushes buttons. So your staff that are the button pushers, did they actually have to get additional training, or were they on some of the proof of concept getting training, or did you train them? What was the training like?
The training was me telling them, this is how you do this.
Oh, okay.
It works. Do this. It's so easy. There wasn't really anything. If you put this sheet on top of that sheet and you put it through that machine with those 2 buttons, you can sit back.
Yeah.
There's stuff to do on the imaging system side, but which has nothing to do with you. But that is a right click and then a click and you're done.
Awesome.
So it is really, you put 50 statements in the system all in one fell swoop. You select them all, right click, and it's called kill. Don't ask me why they created that button that way, but that's what you do. And you kill them and they're done.
Okay.
That's it. So
like
you
that.
can do 50 of them. Honestly, you can be in 30 minutes, you can have 50 to 60 statements put in the system and filed properly.
So are you the hero now?
No.
No?
No, I'm never the hero. I'm always just the guy that comes up with something new and somebody has to say, oh gosh, Jeff's thinking again. No, I think on this side, as they really start to realize the full amount of time they're saving in the process, like I said, the issues have been on this other side. We've got those finally ironed out. We're rolling now. They're going to be able to just get these things flying through the system. They're going to see so much saved time. They're not going to know what to do. Like I said, it's just something that they really are going to see the saved time that they didn't know they were even missing.
And Jeff, after the whole process was in place and you got a quote from Mary and everything's rocking and rolling, did you have executive team members you needed to meet with to pitch this solution to? Or were you allowed to just say, yep, it works, signed, sealed, stamp, send the check?
Oh, I had to get permission and I had to show them the fact that, listen, this is how much paper we're working through here. This is going to save just hours and hours of time. I mean, I couldn't quantify because I haven't really done it. So I'm looking at it, making some estimations that if you say this process for one document is a 2 to 3 minute per document, minimum 2 to 3 minutes, scan it, come in, you got to open it, you got to drag it in, you got to relabel it, type everything in, 2 to 3 minutes. If I can get 60 statements done in less than 30 minutes. And I will give it even credit. It's less than 30 minutes, 15 minutes,
Okay.
60 of them in like 15 minutes. I'm not a rocket scientist, but the math works. You
The
know,
math
I'm
is
not
mathin'.
I can use a calculator, like 2 minutes
Yeah.
per 2 to 6, it's 120 minutes. It's 2 hours and I got it in 15 minutes. It's an hour 45 minutes I just picked up. If I look at my cost per hour on that, you know, it's not an insignificant number.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think it wasn't that hard of a pitch. It really wasn't. It was more just having everybody understand once we did it, like, this is going to be easy. Because that's their biggest fear, right? Their fear is it's going to be complicated. And this is not complicated. Once we went through the process and Jimmy showed me, like, well, you're just going to have a button and you're going to hit this and then you're going to hit start. Oh, great. That's the kind of stuff I like. You know, those are the processes that really work hard. Like, I didn't have to put an instruction manual together. Most stuff is an instruction manual around here. You know, like, we have to change a process. You know, it's 27 steps and 14 pages of Word document with pictures. Why? Because that's the way the world works in most other things. This was nice. No, hit the button, hit start, you're good to go.
Yeah. We love that.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what is Jimmy doing over there? Is he looking for a book?
It's called Insurance Agency Technology for Dummies. It's
Yeah,
got to
I'm
be
like-
back there somewhere.
I can't wait to hear.
I found it.
It's
Yeah.
the easy button. Yeah.
Somewhere
We made
in
an
there.
easy button.
You know,
Mhm.
it really was. Yeah, it was very, very easy.
Fantastic. Okay. I guess and Jimmy, please chime in with any additional questions you have. I figured you would, but I've just been shooting from the hip. We've gone through a lot. My next and I guess final question, really, unless Mary, you had questions you wanted to ask Jeff or anybody. I was going to say, so you'd said, Jeff, that your mad scientist is already thinking, like, what can we do with this next? What does
Mhm.
that mean? Are you thinking other departments or are you thinking of specific documents? What's a brewing?
Well, so yeah, so we get a lot of different things. They're not all physical either. We may get PDF documents. And when I saw the way Umango read through the portal, what keyed in my brain was, I wonder if I could create a way to just forward an email with a PDF that it could read and then take it and create the same cover sheet and email and stick it in a system. We get insurance policies from unique carriers. You know, the policies themselves pretty much are the same each time, like the pages are the same. So can we or could we come up with a way to use Umango to file documentation that comes in a particular manner? Like I said, it's just, how do I get it out of how do I get it out of their email inbox and into our system as fast as possible? We have these email receivers that we can use on our imaging side. What can Umango send to it that we could just get in the system? So how do we come up with other ways to do this? So there's just, like I said, we try to be as paperless as possible, which I love when people say paperless, because it just means that they just don't use as much paper as before.
Yes.
There's no
one's
such thing.
paperless.
There's no such thing as paperless, but is it possible for us to create something that we can use to get more of our information from email and PDF into the system without having to drag and drop or have these windows open? Like, the thing I love is I don't have to have anything open. All you just hit the button, and it goes in the system. Nothing needs to be open for me to do that. That's the thing I love about it. There's a way we use in our imaging, our agency management system. There's an integration with Outlook. I press a button in that, I do some work. I don't even have to have that management system open. It just does the work on the back end. Like, I love those types of things. Like, how do I not have 42 windows open? I like my 3 monitors, but I don't want windows everywhere. How do I make it so that they don't have to do that? They could forward it or whatever. And we could be creative with it. How do we get the next thing to automatically get into the system, like insurance policy or an endorsement to a policy? There's lots of different things that come. Can we create ways to make this easier?
And you know what, Jeff, you understand like sovereign insurance's business so well. I think that what makes you successful in seeking solutions, like you know all the documents, you know all of the, employee daily in and day out. We meet with a lot of folks, and Mary, you could probably say yes on this too, or Jimmy even as well. We meet with a lot of folks where we're like, well, maybe you should put out a survey to your staff. Maybe you should go talk to someone and get this information. But it
Yeah.
seems like you're just
Mhm.
such a great decision maker over there, or figure outer, because you know a lot of the workflow, the
I
daily
go
ins and
do that
outs.
all day. I'm asking like, what do
You
you
do
do? Like,
surveys
how
all
do
day?
you do
Okay.
this? I'm just doing it myself. Like I talk like, what, what's your problem? Well, it just takes a long time. Okay. Well, what can we do to make that easier? My accounting person came to me with a whole different situation, said, I want to create a ticketing system. I said, okay. I mean, anybody can create a ticketing system. It's not hard. You can buy one online for a couple $100. A ticketing system. But does it do what you want it to do? Because I don't actually know what your pain point is.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, it's like, okay, what's the pain point? The pain point is this. Or well, maybe that's not a ticketing system. Maybe that's something else. And so I try to listen versus I don't do surveys. I just hear. I'm involved with industry trade groups. I'm on the board of a group that deals with the network of Vertafore users. Like Vertafore's a huge agent. They're the largest agency management platform, which is what we use. I hear people struggling with all these different things. That's why I've mentioned what you all have done for us. I'm like, I
Aw.
cannot be the only person dealing with this pain point. I
Right.
can't be. It's not possible. Why? Because that same report comes out of the system for every single user of this management system.
Yep.
Same one. And all of them have to get it into a system somehow. I don't
Yep.
know how they do it, but I know how
Or
we did
don't
it.
do it.
Or don't
Yeah.
do it. What are they doing? How are they managing this process for themselves? And like I said, it just, as I heard it, I'm like, well, the reason it came up is because I heard about the email receivers on the other side. And I'm like, ooh, we could send an email and it could, right? Like that's how it started. My brain just ran with it. I could do one thing over here. How do I get it there so that it's easy to use?
And so was it worth the time you invested into the project, Jeff?
100%. 100%. Yeah. And we've just barely scratched the surface of how much value it's going to have. Like I said, we just have started. The value add is just going to continue. So yeah, no, it's exciting.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was such a little, I can't wait to clip that one little piece of you saying that. It's like a
I
perfect
was gonna
commercial.
say,
Again, I can't wait for our marketing team to see this, because like I swear we did not pay Jeff for just giving him some pages in Umango.
Yep. Well, and it's funny, you had said something earlier about how much you like working with Mary, and Mary, you talked about your relationship with Umango. I feel the same way about you when it comes to raw. Like I have vendors for all sorts of different things. The one thing I know is if I'm dealing with something whether it's a printer or whatever, when I email Mary, I'm going to get an answer. Like that's not my experience with most vendors. It's just not. And I feel like that's the way I feel like with both of you, is that when I've had a question or an issue, I can email and say, hey, I need help. And I get help. It isn't, well, I'll see what I can do. It's like, this is what you need to do. Like I need that. I always say I don't understand signals. My wife is wonderful to me. She just tells me exactly what she wants.
Honeydew list.
If you make me try to figure it out on my own, we are both in big trouble. And so I like clear, concise, orderly lists. Tell me what to do. And that's what I get. And I think that's been the best part about all this, is like, give me my homework and then I'll go do that.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And I hope and I think Mary and I, it's so successful between us because we both actually care. We both actually care. I know this is sales at the end of the day, but I think what makes us successful is like, we're not just trying to close another sale. We're actually, you had a problem. I feel like this is like, who is that rapper? You got a problem? Yo, I solved it. Ice Ice Baby. I feel like we're like Vanilla Ice.
that's that song that everybody, when they're in their car, they turn it up, but if you are asked, you don't admit that
I'll
you
admit
enjoy.
it. We're over here vanilla icing every day, Mary and I. People have problems. We like to solve them and we care. And right, Mary? We sleep well at the end of the night, making
And
people happy.
that's exactly what we want our customer to be able to sleep well too.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
Oh.
this is going to sound a little cliche, but oftentimes, and sometimes you have, when I'm talking with folks about certain problems, sometimes what'll end up happening in our conversations is things kind of delve into basics and elementary. Somebody wrote a book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I think I'm going to write a book one day titled It's All About the Small Stuff. The small stuff matters. And when I think about when we communicate with each other, whether we have, whatever the problem is, that there's that communication relies on both saying and verbalizing what it is, but I think the key ingredient is listening, because we can't transform or translate any problem into a solution unless we understand what it is that we're trying to do. And while some folks maybe don't give listening a lot of credit, I think it's probably one of the most useful things that we can do to help understand each other. And when we're understanding each other and we're understanding our problems and how we can help, it all starts with listening. So that's my opinion. I don't mean to get philosophical, but that's just the way I see it.
Well, Jimmy, if Jeff didn't listen to his colleagues and employees and staff, none of this would have even come to fruition. It all started with Jeff listening.
Yep. And I like the great Ted Lasso quote is "Be curious," and that's really what helps get to the users what they need. Jeff does. Be curious, ask them the questions.
I love that. I think that's all. I looked through the questions I had prepped. Jeff, you shared so much amazing information with us. Like the day one that I met you, I remember doing day one demo and you were like, when can I get this? When can I get started? I'm like, this guy would be a fantastic interview. I just know it. And I've been waiting for the success of the project.
All along.
Yeah, that was my evil plan.
I see how this has been going. All right.
Right, Jimmy, right? As soon as we hung up with you, we're like, we've been waiting to have a real awesome Umango interview, and we appreciate you, Jeff. And Umango agreed to give you some free pages, which is nice too, because I know you're burning through them. Yeah, so that's our thank you to you for doing this, and we appreciate you.
And
Mary, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you all.
And we appreciate you.
Aw, thank you, everybody.